All right, we're going to look at a few more working drawings using parts. So far, if I go to my presentation, make sure I pop up the right one here. I have my title slide, I have my main assembly, I have my mallet assembly, and I have my pegboard base. So the next one I'm going to look at is going to be my pegboard end. I'll also need to do my round peg, my square peg, my triangle peg, my mallet head, and my mallet handle all separately. But for right now, we're just going to look at the end. Now, some of you may have never looked at this end as an individual part, because if you remember when you created it, it was an in-place component. So you actually created it within an assembly, but it was created as a separate file. So believe it or not, you can access that individual file and manipulate this part so that it'll be placed into a working drawing. Now if I click on the front of my view cube, you'll see the profile of my end, and it is the profile of how it was drawn. This is actually the physical outline of the end as we had drawn it. So that's why that's the front view. But for me, when I'm looking at turning this into an orthographic projection, I don't look at that as being the most descriptive view. What I do look at being the most descriptive view in this example would be this right side. Now you can't really see those lines very well, but if I angle this a bit, you'll see with the orientation of right for my view cube, you'll see that there's more features on the right side than there is on any of the other sides of the end. So because of this, I'm going to click on right, and I'm going to click on the arrow below the view cube, and I'm going to set the current view as front. This will be our front view when we go to project the base into our working drawing. So now I'm going to go New, Standard IDW, and Create. And I'm going to go over here in the model browser. I'm going to right click on Sheet, Edit Sheet Size, and I'm going to change that to Sheet Size A. So that changes up our title block. Now I'm going to go Base, and as you can see, as I go to project the base, which is the front view, it's going to be too large. So I'm going to try to change my scale to 1/2. I want to use the largest scale possible. I want to fill up my drawing area so that the drawing is easy to interpret. Okay, so here's my front view. There you can see the lines. Here's my top view. Here's my right side view. A little isometric up here in the top right corner. I'll click that in, and then I'll right click, Create. So we have a good series of lines here. We have all visible lines in our front view. We have that profile as we had drawn it initially for our side view. And in the top view, you can see this hidden line that shows the depth of that dado cut. Remember that special dado cut we had to draw in that's going to provide strength for our project. Now we can go ahead and annotate it with dimensions. So I'm going to go to Annotate. And I'm going to look at a few elements here. Width looks pretty uniform. Or length. My apologies. Let me click back on dimension. I'm going to do length, because that's a pretty set dimension, 3 inches, because if you remember, we extruded that to 3 inches. I'm going to place some measurements between the views. I could do overall height, but then I'm going to have some doubled up measurements. So let's do our annotations based upon our dado cut. This should be 2.25. This one here should be 0.75, as it's the thickness of our material. I'm going to stagger those a little bit so you can see them. And this one here should be 1. Okay, so that would give us an overall height. 2.25 plus 0.75 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So that is how we had drawn that. Okay, we have some distances we have to look at here for our thickness. We do need to look at the depth of that dado cut. So let's try that one here. 0.38, because that's 3/8 of an inch, or half of 0.75. And let's look at this one here. And that's one's 3/8 as well. So that gives us all of those annotations for that end piece. Now, just like before, we can go to our snipping tool. We can carefully drag a box around our object. We can go Edit, Copy. Go ahead and close that since we're done with it. No save necessary. Up to our PowerPoint. And we're going to go New, Blank Slide. Paste that in there. And we'll stretch it to fit, so that it fills up the page, so that we have that actual sheet size of 8.5 by 11. And then we'll go ahead and save this project. We still have some time. Let's go ahead and do another part. So I'm going to go to Open, and let's do one of our pegs. So I'll scroll down here a ways. Pegboard toy. And I'll pick the first peg that I see. We could do them in the order that we created them, which would be the round peg. I'll start typing in round peg. Let's open that up. Yes. Oh, that's my round peg IDW. Hey, let's take a look at that, because that is what you need to create. So let me zoom in on that. As you can see with my round peg, I don't have a lot of dimensions in there. You only need enough dimensions to show how that part is made. So on round peg here, I show the radius of 0.5, which means our diameter for that circle would be 1 inch. And I only show the length of the peg at 3. So being that this is our next part, I already have it made. Let's go ahead and snip this into our presentation. So I'll go Snipping Tool. I'll drag my box around it. Edit. Copy. Now I can go to my presentation. And I'm on slide 6 already. So I'm going to go New Slide, Blank Slide, Control V to paste that. Here's our round peg. Let's see if I can find one more. That one's in there. File, Save. Let's go back to Inventor. We'll go to Open. The next one we made was the square peg. Let's go straight to my IDW one. So you can see what that should look like. Very minimal dimensions there. 1 by 1, extruded to 3. Back to our snipping tool, New. Drag a box around it. Edit. Copy. To our presentation. New Slide. Blank. Control V to paste. And we'll stretch it to fit. So I only have 3 slides left now. My triangle peg, my mallet head, and my mallet handle. If I can get that stretched out. There we go. File, Save. So I'm going to give you some time to figure out if you can complete this presentation on your own. Make sure that you're selecting the proper orientation for the front view. As you can see, on my pegs, the front view ends up being a bit smaller because that's where the majority of our dimensions will lie. So, hopefully you'll have good luck with this activity. I'd like to see you get it completed within the next couple of days so that we can move on to our candy dispenser drawing and our candy dispenser woodshop project. Until next time, good luck.